You're with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
Let's walk the talk. Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856.
92.7 and 106 FM.
8 minutes after 9 o'clock. Dumelang, welcome to the Clement Manyathela Show. It's wonderful to have you with us here on 702. I hope you're well this morning. We start the show with the 702 open line this hour on 011-883-0702. The WhatsApp line is 072-702-1702. I was reading a story in the Soweto newspaper this morning about the Bryanston Methodist Church. It was robbed on Monday after a fundraising service over the weekend. We're told through this report that the church's safe was stolen and an undisclosed amount of money was taken. And this is not the first time that churches have actually been robbed, eh? This is not the first time, but the church is one of those settings where money is collected weekly. And I wonder how your church goes about collecting monielo. Huh? That's what we would call it. How does your church do it, especially in this time where criminals are beginning to more and more target even these religious institutions? How does your church protect itself from possible crime when it comes to the tithes? Have you introduced EFTs or speed point at the church? Even if it's not a church and maybe you run a business, I wonder how you interact with cash and whether you've introduced these cardless payments. But what you see, I mean, I've been to the church. I do sometimes go to the Bryanston Methodist Church, and I know that sometimes they'll tell you if you want to pay via, I think, speed point, you can go to the back. So during Monielo, during the time when people are paying their tithes and they're giving money, that's an option that already exists. Because I find more and more that a lot of us are not carrying cash. I mean, I don't. In fact, for me, churches having speed points is convenient for me, as controversial as that may be to other people. But that's a matter of convenience for me because I still want to give, but I just don't have cash. So, but other people do come because they still do the traditional way of giving, and they want to do church. So, what mechanisms has your church taken to be safe? Like, do you guys close doors during the time when there's money being exchanged? Has your church taken a decision that no cash is allowed? Because apparently some churches don't even allow you to bring in cash. Maybe after the offering, money gets taken immediately. But the difference now is that this happened during the weekend. So it's not like you can go bank the money. So putting it in a safe is probably the way to go. But my goodness, there is no safe place anymore. There isn't. I mean, is there a place you consider safe? I do remember the Sunday Times running a story on their front page a couple of months ago about the alarming increase in criminal attacks on Gauteng churches during services. You've got terrified congregants that are beginning to stay away from churches because of how unsafe it can be. I mean, desperate pastors are also getting additional security now. I mean, have you been to churches where you see armed guards? There are churches like that. There are even metal detectors at doors in some churches. Some churches are even cancelling evening services because it's bad. Criminals are holding communities hostage. And that's why some pastors have even proposed to their members to leave their cell phones and wallets at home and only bring your Bibles, because many are not even taking cash anymore during offering time. It's completely online. But then sometimes that doesn't help, because the criminals get agitated when they don't find enough cell phones or money. So they can actually endanger your lives. So that's the issue. Give us a call on 011-883-0702, please, to share what your experiences have been, and if you've put protections in whatever institution you are part of, whether it's a religious institution, maybe you run a business. How do you interact with the issue of cash? Also on the open line this morning, I'd like to get your reflections on what happened yesterday. What happened yesterday at the Madlanga Commission? Because for the first time, we heard from the Hawks officers who were deployed to Katie Molefe's house when Katie Molefe was arrested. And there have been some contradictions. I mean, you've got Mr. Mokoena, who is the one who dispatched the team there, who gave contradictory messages yesterday, but was asked some really serious and tough questions by the commissioners. And I wonder what your reflections are of what happened yesterday. Give us a call on 011-883-0702. WhatsApp's on 0727021702.
Clement Manyathela, streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856
92.7
and 106 FM.
Mamorena, you're calling us from Bloemfontein. Good morning.
Good morning, Clement. How are you?
I'm all right, thanks. Go ahead.
It's very nice speaking to you. We want to contribute on the topic of offering at church. Yes, in my church, it's a traditional church, the Dutch Reformer, also known as Fora. But here we are more advanced. We have the scan to pay that will be displayed on the screen during offering. And then we also have an option to go to the website where you can contribute. And then we do have a speed point in church. As much as older people are still contributing using cash, but we do have those options, which really works. And especially during other functions, because we'll have our muzigelo and stuff. So we are encouraged to use the bank account and the scan to pay.
And so do you find that the congregation is getting used to those systems?
Yes, we are. We are. And another thing, I thought it was also a strategy for us to contribute more, because remember, you can't swipe 10 rand or 20 rand. So it will always be 50, 100, 200, stuff like that. So we are, and the church is really doing good financially since those measures have been introduced. We are getting used to it.
All right. Mamorena in Bloemfontein, thank you so much for your call.
Hi, Clement. This is Melusi. Clement, churches are being robbed because criminals are hiding in churches. Yeah, that's the whole reason why. How do they know that the church was fundraising on the day? How do they know? Why do they choose that specific day? Why? Period.
And how did they know where the safe is? Because when they arrived, the information from the Sowetan newspaper, they went straight, they held hostage the security guard at the church. They knew where to go. They asked him, lead us to the offices. They went to the safe. So they knew exactly what to do. And I think that's a fair point. Are you convinced that these are criminals who just randomly thought, let's go attack the Bryanston Methodist Church? They must have known something. And maybe someone from the inside may have alerted them that this is a service that's taking place and this is what normally happens in a service like this. But also, criminals are always some criminals will go to a church just to pick up what the movements are like, right? Some criminals will go attend that service. Maybe for a month they're attending and they hear a pastor announce that, we're going to have a service where we're just giving money to praising God. And then they think, okay, if that is the case, maybe that money will still be around before it gets banked, maybe on a Wednesday or Tuesday, whatever the case. So they'll come take their chance. Who knows? But I think it raises serious questions about how things are done and the systems are implemented in a church, because these criminals are going after churches now. So you've got to be very, very, very cautious.
Hi, Clement. It's sad what happened there at Bryanston Methodist Church. Really sad. It's 2025. I think the churches also have to move with times and also with technology. In our church, for example, we are trying to be as cashless as possible. Most of the tithes, in fact, I think all the tithes, they come through the EFT. So we don't have cash in terms of tithes. And then in terms of the offering, we've got QR codes that people can scan and then they can give. And then we also have a speed point in the church. Obviously, there are still some people who prefer to give in terms of cash, but it's few people. So I think the churches just also need to move with times. It's more convenient, it's safer. People must be able to tap with their cell phones and give, like the way you do it in other places.
Good morning, Clement. I would like to comment on the topic you're having of having like cash and how you protect it. So with our stock for we lend out money during the year, then around December we close, then we share the money. Yeah, per person can get up to like 50, 60,000 or whatever. So we make sure we have armed guards at the gate of the house where we're sharing the money, because these criminals, they don't play. They come in like heavily armed and stuff. Thank you. This is Mandla from Pretoria.
Your voice,
Your station.
your open line
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela.
on 702.
Clemmy, more man. Flores here from the beautiful Western Cape. Clemmy, as a layman in law and policing, let me tell you, the Hawks did interfere. According to the commissioners, why could they not contact the police stations at the Rosebank, at Sandton, that was closer to Sandhurst? Why call in air support and other officials that were still quite a while away from Katie Molefi's house? So there was definitely interference. And the rod must really come out. And you could hear this Captain Kruger, who was just promoted one day before this raid, this Brigadier Mokoena one day before, and all of a sudden they want to throw their weight around. Have a good job, bye-bye.
Yeah, listen, Flores, you're raising an important issue there. In fact, I want to bring in Karen Mon, who is a legal journalist with News 24. She's been listening yesterday to the testimonies of these Hawks officials. And Karen, thank you for making time for us. There were a number of discrepancies, contradictions in the testimony we got from Mr. Mokoena, from Mr. Kruger as well. Do we know why this team was dispatched to the Hawks offices from what they've told us so far? What's convincing about the dispatchment of that team to Katie Molefi's house as he was arrested by the SAPS?
I think, Clement, to be very honest with you, there are actually more questions than answers that came out of that evidence. We know that this issue of the bizarre circumstances of the Hawks arriving while the police were executing that J50 warrant for the arrest of Katie Molefe have actually come out in Katie Molefe's court case. It was raised by the state. The state was very concerned about it. And at that time, Hawks head Godfrey Labia, who was then the Hawks head, subsequently retired, through his spokesperson said, no, they just got a call from someone. He doesn't know who that person is, but this resulted in this full-scale level of deployment from the Hawks. And we also know that it wasn't just Captain Kruger and his colleague, Captain de Gouveia, who gets sent there. It's a number of Hawks from Johannesburg as well. And Kruger himself said, well, I don't know why that happened. And, of course, as your call, I think, previously raised, in the course of this WhatsApp group is created. And according to Kruger, Mokoena then encourages him to get the traffic police involved to the extent that they are then swooping a helicopter over Katie Molefe's house. And I think the obvious question is, in what circumstances does an anonymous tip from someone that you don't know create such traction? The entire upper structures of the Hawks are then urging this full-scale deployment of Hawks officers to that scene. It just does not make sense.
I mean, how do you get such resources just because some anonymous person said people are claiming to be Hawks officers? The surprising thing here also, what's not helping Karen, is that even Mr. Mokoena in his testimony, he's contradicting himself. Like, was he on this WhatsApp group or not? Did he participate or not? Then what about that video call? Which phone was used to video call another cop who was there with Godfrey Libya? It seemed like there's no clear answer even on that, even from the witnesses themselves.
Well, what was excruciating, and I mean, you must understand that the DCJ, retired DCJ Madlanga, is actually a very patient person. I mean, you know, the commissioners, we now very familiar with them. They definitely don't take a back seat. Both Ceci Beloy and Commissioner Khumalo are extremely vocal when they don't understand, and they will push. And especially, you know, Commissioner Khumalo saying, you know, why would, when you get this Kruger is reaching out to all his contacts, he's been taken away from going to another operation in Northwest on his evidence so that he can come to this person's house and verify, inverted commas, that this is a legitimate operation. But before he even gets there, he's posting on that group, listen, I've got information that it is a legitimate operation, which of course it was found to be. There was a legitimate arrest warrant, etc., etc. And, you know, the allegation which Mokoena denied was that his attempts to distance himself from that WhatsApp group were because the question then remains, well, why did you not pull them off that scene when it became immediately apparent to you that this information about it being fake Hawks is simply not true?
Yeah.
And the fact that we had to have a retired deputy chief justice explaining to a brigadier in the Hawks, this is a person in a senior position, how WhatsApp works. I don't know, you know, I personally, like, I'm horrified by that. I'm horrified.
It's horrifying.
That is actually our reality.
At some point, the commissioners were trying to explain to Kruger, like, how to even do calls. Like, they were explaining that when you, like you open a call log, so to speak. So you open up an inquiry. So if there's a team being dispatched, what is the normal process that you follow, as the Hawks? And he was trying to argue that, I would have to request, to open that log from the brigadier, and they had to constantly ask him the same question several times until he had to concede, that we were supposed to open a log call and they didn't for this operation, which again raises and other questions.
No, absolutely. And I mean, the essential stream of allegation there was that this entire thing was off the books.
Yes.
And this is in circumstances where there are also contradictions from the evidence that we've heard from witness A, witness B, and of course, Captain Wonder, who was also from the PKTT but was named, who said these guys were demanding to see the arrest warrant. They were shown the warrant, and then they were pushing to know what the case was about, which witness A made very clear was wholly inappropriate because it was such a sensitive operation. So you really get flashbacks to the era of Jackie Celebi, where you had that standoff where police were and the Scorpions were at odds.
Yeah.
The fact that we literally had senior members of the Hawks admitting in this forum that the entire situation almost escalated to open conflict, people drawing guns and possibly a shootout, in circumstances where these guys are trying to get to the heart and arrest a person who's implicated in masterminding the murder of a wholly innocent father of two, engineer who's just doing his job and rocking up at work and then gets shot 23 times. I don't think that the importance of this evidence and the kind of need for some action of it can be understated.
Yeah, absolutely. Karen, let me let you go back to the commission because it's about to begin now at 9:30. Thank you for speaking to us. Karen Mon is a legal journalist with News 24. I thought we should bring her up to give you a sense of what transpired yesterday at the Madlanga Commission. The Hawks officials, their testimony was disappointing because of the contradictions that were pointed out by the commissioners. You can clearly tell that this operation was off the books. The head of the Hawks, the big boss, Godfrey Libya, calls a brigadier and says, please dispatch a team because there are people who are apparently impersonating Hawks officers. Who did he get information from? From Malcolm X. And maybe after the headlines, we should go back to those clips to remind you what Godfrey Libya told us on this show, what Malcolm X also told us on this show. But the fact that there is some concern that Hawks officers may be, like some individuals may be impersonating Hawks officers, and then you go and amass resources like that, where you even get a helicopter to hover over KT Molefe's house because he's about to be arrested by the SAPS. You get a team of about 6 to 8 Hawks officers to arrive there with rifles. I mean, that could have been a disaster. Can you imagine if these SAPS members who were arresting KT Molefe started charging at the Hawks officers? Because they were not friendly to each other. Both of them confessed to that at the commission. Again, this must tell you how powerful KT Molefe is and how he is linked to powerful cops. I mean, one of the witnesses, detectives, did say that, a relative of KT Molefe told one of the SAPS members as they were arresting KT Molefe that KT Molefe is close to Senzo Mkhunu, the Minister of Police. How do you question that? I mean, there was a whole helicopter hovering over his house because he's being arrested, which has been called by the Hawks. And remember, this is the man, as we speak right now, who is out on bail. It's 9:31.
Your voice.
Your station.
Your open line.
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela.
On 702.
24 minutes before 10 o'clock. Let's go to your calls and your WhatsApps. I've been asking you about how you do things at your church, given what happened at the Bryanston Methodist Church. They were robbed on Monday after a fundraising service over the weekend. And I've been asking you about how your church does things. Like, what mechanisms has your church taken to be safe? Do you close doors when you give? Maybe you don't allow cash anymore. After offering, do you take the money to the bank immediately? How does it work? Because criminals are coming after churches now. But also, we're reflecting on what happened yesterday. It's so disappointing, hearing that kind of testimony from Hawks. Like, which law enforcement agency are we going to be so confident in it that we know that all they are concerned about is just getting to the truth and ensuring that there's justice and investigating matters to ensure there's proper, effective prosecution? I mean, now I'm scared. Are we going to hear something else about the SIU? About inefficiencies and officials that are possibly corrupted too? I'm just worried about that. I mean, already we're dealing with the SAPS. Now you're hearing that the Hawks officers who were testifying didn't really give us much confidence. Like, who's out there as a law enforcement agency that is completely just interested in doing the job? It's quite scary. Here's some WhatsApp voice notes that have come on that on 072 702 and 702.
Good morning, Clement. Gordon in Boxburg here. Clement, the blatant lies that came from that Captain Brigadier Mokoena are appalling. I have never seen an official that lies. I've heard politicians and all those people. I've never seen someone that lies so blatantly like that guy. And Clement, who made that call? Did the person that made that call to that guy say, I am in the house and there are people who are pretending to be police? Or did that person say, I'm a neighbor or was just passing by and I saw people? What did that person say so that we can verify? Because that would be able to tell us where this person was when the call was made. And Clement, it's so sad that there's so many active crimes that are taking place in this country. There's cash in transit heists, there's robberies, there's house breakings, there's hijackings that you'd call the police and say, I'm looking at this thing now, it's taking place, but they'd never make it. But for this guy, they were able to do such. Totally disgusting, Clement.
Hello. Good morning, Clement. Hi, Clement. Yesterday, Ntate Mokoena, Yo, I was so disappointed. Ntate Mokoena was looking was looking for a corner inside the circle. He didn't know what to say. Like, he tried to think of all the lies he could come up with, but Clement, our system is so rotten. So I'm just so happy that everything is out in the open. Clearly something has to be done here. I said, no here. On and 5 year Clement. Thank you.
Morning, Marimecha. Marimecha, I think it's high time now heads must roll. The heads must roll. I think the heads must roll. Those Hawks officials, I think they must just be fired immediately. There mustn't be a disciplinary action or whatsoever. They must just be dismissed. Dismissed. You can hear from this Kruger guy. I blame myself. They ask him question. I blame myself. As if he's covering someone, fearing of being victimized. No. As for Mokoena, no, Clement, those people were sent there just to disrupt that operation so that Katie Molefe can't be arrested. No, I think heads must roll. High officials must do something about these guys because we can't be run by cartels. It shows how powerful Katie Molefe is. Mwakuya and Joburg, have a great one.
Morning, Clement. The behavior of the Hawks at the Katie Molefe takedown reminds me of what happened on the day that the tiger disappeared. It's off the books. Nobody knows what happens or who gave the instructions to, I would imagine, lower level policemen were arrested. And where is the tiger? All gone.
Gone.
Noni.
Yeah, Noni. Tiger is probably enjoying himself somewhere on a beach. He's probably been assisted to escape the country as well. And I bet you, and I even said this at the beginning when this was revealed, I was like, this is probably connected to someone higher up. I don't think this is just something normal officers can pull off. So, it's so concerning. To the fact that the SAPS were going to legitimately effect an arrest, and some group of Hawks officers arrived, even when they knew, because on the WhatsApp group, it was already indicated that, guys, don't worry, this is a legitimate operation. And yet, Kruger and them still continued to go to the house. And when they were told this is a legitimate operation, they still wanted to know more information about the docket. Why are you arresting this man? Where's the docket? That time, there's a helicopter hovering above. That's why the SAPS even said at the Madlanga Commission that we had to call for reinforcement. Are you kidding me? The Hawks and the SAPS nearly exchanged gunfire. Why? Because the Hawks seemingly wanted to protect Katie Molefe from being arrested? Because how then do you expect how they have behaved? Listen to what Godfrey Lebeya said. Because to understand why we're here, we've got to take it back to the beginning. Why did the Hawks go there in the first place? The instruction came from the very top, the head of the Hawks at the time, Godfrey Lebeya. And we had him on this show to explain why he issued that instruction for people to go to Katie Molefe's house as the SAPS were arresting him. So the source who called you, what interest does that person have in this matter? Is it only because they're friends of Molefe, or do they have any other interest in this matter?
I do not know their relationship. Firstly, I don't even know this Molefe. I never heard about him before. So it's not one of the famous names that when a person mentioned it, one would have picked it up. So I don't know what is his relationship with this individual. It is something that this person himself can indicate. I just took it that they are general friends. But to us, we just took this is an information from somebody who has been providing information in the past. It's not the first time that he's providing the information.
But then he's also friends with this man who was about to be arrested, and he has a relationship with the police because he's given them information before.
The informant, all the people in South Africa, those who want to fight crime from time to time, provide information. The fact that they might be closely related to criminals is something that we will not be knowing from the word go. So, yes, he provided the information to us, which in the past we had to work on it. And obviously I can't be revealing the nature of the information that he provided.
But this man has provided information before that was credible to the police.
Yes.
And this time around, his friend was about to be arrested, and he provided false information to the police because he claims that the people who are here are claiming to be from the Hawks. And when you sent people there, they went there and they said, no, that is not really the case.
Yeah, what I can't say who is not telling I can't judge who is not telling the truth here. What we got was that this person, the officer in charge of the corporation, the captain, indicated that he never mentioned that I have sent him. So it means that he denies that he has mentioned that he comes from the Hawks. He denies that he has been sent by me. Remember that in the DPCI, we have been handling 32 cases of people who have been pretending to be from the Hawks when they are not from the Hawks. So whenever somebody is saying that he is from the Hawks, we quickly dispatch a team to go and check, verify as to whether who is that person. You will recall that we have effected arrest on some of the people, including a police officer from crime intelligence who was pretending to be a lieutenant colonel from the Hawks when he is not a lieutenant colonel, when he was a warrant officer from crime intelligence. His co-perpetrator was convicted and sentenced. By the time I left the office, I think he was still appearing in court.
The difference now is that when the team, before even the team arrived there, they were alerted on the group that don't worry, the matter is settled now. The people who are at Katie Molefe's house are legitimate SAPS officers and they didn't claim to be from the Hawks. And there are two things you must note from that interview we did with Godfrey Libiat. Godfrey says the person who called him is an informant who has given them information before. Malcolm X was on this show. He denied that he's an informant. Godfrey Libiat claims the information he got from Malcolm X was that Malcolm X is friends with the guy who was being arrested. Malcolm X came on this show and denied that he's friends with Katie Molefe. Remember that?
On the day in question, that was 6 December 2024, I received a call from someone who said someone that I know very well, who is one of my clients in my consulting business, who said he's the brother to Molefe, Katie Molefe. Then he said, look, Malcolm, I'm not around, but please do me a big favor. My brother just called me and said he's either about to be arrested or kidnapped and possibly killed by people who are masquerading as police officers at his house. Then he sent me the address. He directed me to the house. I drove there quickly. It was during the day. I didn't even have time to call for backup or tell the police about it. So I went there alone. As I was about to park, then I saw there were about 35 to 40 people in the yard, and there were many vehicles outside the yard. Then at the entrance, they wouldn't allow me to enter the yard. They said they are police officers. Then I said, okay, from which division? They said, why is it my business? Then I explained them that their brother to the owner of the house asked me to come through. On arrival, several of them were talking to me. Well, they were very rude, even refusing to show me their identification cards to prove they were policemen. Then I said, guys, this is very suspicious because there are people here wearing ballot levels, refusing to show me their identity cards. Some cars had no registration numbers. Then I said, if you are policemen, my name is Malcolm X. If you are policemen, please show me who proof of that. So some said, hey, you can't be Malcolm. So I took out my ID and showed them that it's my real name, as in the name is Malcolm, surname is X. So I requested them to do the same. They wouldn't. Then eventually I said, can I speak to your commander? They said he's not available. At some stage, the commander came and said, yes, we are policemen. But some of them had already said, because I asked them from which division. Then I said, are you Hawks, Crime Intelligence, or SAPS? They said all that. And when they said all that, that's when I decided to call General Gotlibia from my cell phone. I called him, he picked up. Then I said, General, there are people here who say they are Hawks.
Yeah.
Some of them say they are Hawks, and they were sent by you to this operation. And I told him how I got to be there. Then he said, look, I have no knowledge of any Hawks members doing an operation in Sentin. Can I verify? He verified and called back and said, no. They are not Hawks because I just spoken to my people. Hawks members are not supposed to be there, but I will send teams to come verify them. Then at some stage, I'm heading Teglaw. So they arrived. Some apparently came from Pretoria or Camping Park, Sun Hill. But then I then met Hawks members that I know personally from Job Exhibit. They arrived. Hi, Malcolm, how are you? We've been told to come here. We've been told that we are here as well. Then I said, I'm here. I'm the one that called General. Then they verified those people that they are called. Then they came out and said, okay, it's confirmed. They are policemen.
Okay. So that's Malcolm X. That's a guy that I interviewed who calls himself a super consultant. And he had a direct line to the head of the Hawks. And the head of the Hawks instructed a Brigadier Mokoena or someone else who then instructed Brigadier Mokoena to dispatch a team to go to Katie Molefe's house. That's how powerful this man is. Our own law enforcement agencies nearly exchange gunfire with each other because one powerful man was about to be arrested by the SAPS. And that man is out on bail right now as we hear more evidence at the Madlanga Commission from the detectives who've been investigating the murder of that engineer, and how this man who's out on bail, how the police believe he played a role in the assassination of that engineer. 7 minutes before 10.
Your voice.
Your station.
Your open line.
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela
On 702.
4 minutes before 10.
Good morning. Hey, you see, the first time when I heard what the Scorpions 2009 was stopped from operating. That moment, that's where I started to believe that corruption is existing, is living, is breathing. So now the Hawks is here to do the duties that we should highly recommend them with, the high profile duties, but they are not doing that. They are not. I fell in love with the Scorpions. I don't know if you still remember the Scorpions. I fell in love with those guys. They will do what is this lifestyle audit. I know there's some issues that were raised about them, etc. But we need an independent investigative team or operation that can deal with, especially these crooks, the politicians, and these senior officers. Because if there's crime in SAPS, if there's crime in people that should stop crime, then we will never win. We will never win. Sabo from Lombardi.
Hi, Clement. There's something that just crossed my mind. If someone calls you and says someone close to you is in trouble, there are a group of individuals masquerading as the police are trying to arrest your friend, would you drive there knowing that these individuals could possibly be criminals? Does that even make sense? This Malcolm X guy says he drove there alone. If he believed that these people could be masquerading, would it not be poor judgment to place yourself in a situation where criminals could be trying to do something unlawful? Would that not endanger you? Something doesn't make sense here.